So you've completed a mortgage application, had your credit pulled, and your loan officer tells you that everything sounds great, and now it's time to submit collaborating documentation to verify everything on your loan application. I want to take a minute to talk about best practices for submitting this documentation. We're going to ask for things like bank statements, pay stubs, W-2s, and other documentation that may be unique to your situation. I've noticed that the first thing a lot of people like to do is pull out their cell phone, open up their banking app, and start taking screenshots of account balances. This doesn't work in the mortgage industry. Underwriters do not like cell phone screenshots. Unfortunately, the mortgage world is a couple of decades behind the rest of the world, so we need the physical bank statements that you would get in the mail to include all pages, even if blank. Most of you have probably opted out of hard paper copies of bank statements, and that's okay. If you log on to your bank's website, preferably on a desktop computer, but this can also be done on the phone app, you can download PDF files of your bank statements. This is the best way to transmit these over to us. If you're able to just save it as a PDF onto your computer or your phone and email us that PDF file, that's perfect. It'll automatically include all pages. It'll be nice and crisp, color, the whole shebang, and that's wonderful. Again, a screenshot of the account balance isn't going to fly. A copy of page 1 alone isn't going to fly. Say your bank statement is 2 pages long. The first page is just the account balance and a couple of transactions, and page 2 either says this page is left intentionally blank or it's advertisements. We still need it, because if you don't provide it, an underwriter doesn't know what's on page 2, and the assumption is that we're hiding something. The other major issue that we have with documents is that people have a tendency to want to take a photo of a document on their cell phone, and this can be okay if it's a clear photo with all 4 corners visible in the frame, but 8 times out of 10 that's not the case. It usually is not focused, so you can't read the text, or it's cut off, and that's not going to fly either. Did you know that if you're an iPhone owner, there's actually a scanner built into your phone? It's true. If you open up your Notes app and click the little camera at the bottom, it'll actually scan a document for you and optimize it and save it as a PDF. So your phone's gonna do all the work for you. You just need to know how to access this. This works really well with documents like pay stubs, job offer letters, Social Security award letters, driver's licenses, etc. If we're dealing with something like a tax return that's going to have dozens of pages, you can often log into TurboTax or whatever software that you use and export the whole thing into a PDF file. If you don't use software and you have an accountant prepare your taxes, you can reach out to their office and they can send you an electronic copy. Or of course, you could always physically drop the documents off to our office or scan them to your computer as a PDF. Taking individual scans or screenshots of something like this might become a little tedious. Now I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful yet underutilized tools that you have on your computer: the ability to save as a PDF. Say you've provided bank statements to us already, and we need a transaction history. We need to show what's happened in the account since the end of the last statement up until today. And say that you're in your bank's website, but they don't really have a good way to turn that into a PDF. The next statement's not out yet. What do? That's where print to PDF comes into play. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hit Control P on my keyboard, and it's going to take you to the print menu. It's probably going to default to your printer up here, and that's not what we want in this case. We don't want to physically print this out, but we want to save it to our computer as a PDF, which is where Save as PDF comes into play. So now, as you can see, it's going to create this really nice PDF file, and that's going to be a good way to transmit this data to your mortgage broker. One other trick is we want these little URLs at the bottom of the page to show up. That's a quirky mortgage rule that was put in place a long time ago. So if you don't see that on the preview, go down to Options and you check Headers and Footers. You'll see that since I've unchecked that, the URL is gone. So I'm going to go ahead and recheck that, and that information is going to reappear. It's a small yet important detail when dealing with mortgages. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save down here. We'll just put that in the desktop, save, and now you're ready to attach that to an email. So that has attached to the email, and boom, you're done. Ready to send a perfectly compliant document to your mortgage originator. Remember, you're not bad with technology. You just have to take the time to learn.